So, Miss Janice, you're back with me this week.
I am. I'm so thankful that Miss Rachel jumped in.
It was
helped
fun.
us out.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So this
but
week,
I did miss doing it, I have to tell you.
Well, it's a good thing we're back.
Yes.
Because this week we're reading all about knights. Last week it was princesses.
But it's daytime.
Not that kind of night.
Well, what kind of night?
Well, we're going to have to read them and find out.
Okay.
So first we need to do our song.
Okay.
It's been like 2 weeks. Do you remember it?
I don't know. I'll try.
Let's see. Ready?
Yes.
Hello, neighbor. How are you today? It's going to be a beautiful day. So clap your hands and stomp your feet. Jump up and down and have a seat.
I did it.
You did do it.
I remembered it.
I'm proud of you. Now we get to do it again.
Okay. Here we go. Let's go a little faster this time.
Okay, ready?
Hello, neighbor. How are you today? It's going to be a beautiful day. So clap your hands and stomp your feet. Jump up and down and have a seat. That was good.
I like that. I like doing it a little faster.
I do too.
Okay, so let's speed right into a story.
Let's do it.
Okay.
The story today is called The Princess Knight by Cornelia Funk and illustrated by Kirsten Meyer. Do you remember what illustrated means? It's the person that does the pictures. King Wilfred the Worthy had 3 sons. He brought them up just as his father had brought him up, and they were taught all the things he had been taught. He wanted them to be better than his best knights. They learned riding and jousting, fighting with swords, and good table manners too. They learned how to stride around proudly and how to shout very loudly. And, perhaps most important for princes, they learned how to give orders to their nursemaids, their servants, their dogs, and their horses. Then Queen Violetta had a daughter, but the queen died when the baby was born, so the little girl was called Violetta. No one would dare tell the king how to do anything, especially how to raise his little girl. So he decided to teach her the same lessons he had taught his sons. Even though she was so small, she could hardly lift a sword at all. Her brothers teased her and called her names. Itsy bitsy little Vi, little girl, can't hurt a fly. And they would boast that they were so strong, even the most spirited horse would obey them. Then they'd strike the heads off practice dummies so hard that the heads would fly right over the castle walls. And they would laugh and laugh at their little sister as she struggled to mount a horse in her heavy armor, as if it were the funniest thing they'd ever seen. There she is trying to get on the horse. Oh, Emma, said Violetta to her nursemaid one evening, while Emma soothed the little girl's bruises. I'll never be as strong as my brothers. Not as strong, maybe, but you are 3 times as clever, said Emma sensibly. Why not ask your father to stop teaching you all this silly fighting and to let you learn something else instead? Embroidery, perhaps, or weaving, or playing the flute. Something useful. But Violetta shook her head. No, 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 she said. That would only make my brothers laugh louder. So Emma said no more, for she knew the princess was more determined than all the 3 princes put together. From that night on, Violetta slipped out of the castle in secret while the rose gardener's son kept watch for her. She started to practice all the things her brothers could already do so much better. Violetta practiced in her own way, without shouting and without using her spurs. Indeed, she was very quiet about it, as quiet as the night itself. So, while her brothers grew as tall and strong as King Wilfred's knights, Violetta, who stayed quite small, got better at fighting and riding every day. And her father's horses loved to carry her on their backs. Violetta became so nimble and quick that when her 3 brothers practiced jousting with her, their spears and swords just hit the empty air. And the princes soon stopped laughing at her, and they stopped calling her Itsy Bitsy Little Vi. Then came the day before Violetta's 16th birthday, and the king asked to see her. "Violetta," said King Wilfred, "I'm going to hold a jousting tournament in honor of your birthday. The victory prize will bring the bravest knights in the land flocking to the castle." "What will that prize be, father?" asked Violetta, wondering which horse she would ride, which of her suits of armor would be lightest, and which plume she would wear in her helmet. "The prize," said King Wilfred, "will be your hand in marriage. So put on your finest gown and practice your prettiest smile." Look at all the things she's thinking about. Nothing about being married there. Violetta turned as red as the roses beside the castle moat. "What?" she cried. "You want me to marry some dimwit in a tin suit? Just look at your own knights. They whip their horses and they can't even write their own names." Her father was so angry that he locked Violetta up in the castle tower all by herself. Not until the moon was shining high in the sky did the king tell Violetta's youngest brother to let her out. "Stop crying, little sister," said Violetta's brother. "I'll make sure you win the tournament myself. You certainly can't. I'll make sure to win the tournament myself. You certainly can't marry me." But Violetta shook her head and wiped her eyes on the hem of her dress. "Thank you," she said, "but I think I'd better just see to it myself." The next day, the field behind the castle was crowded with knights who had come to fight in the tournament. King Wilfred sat down to watch. Little did he know that it wasn't Violetta who sat beside him. It was her nursemaid, Emma. She wore Violetta's best dress and a veil over her face. The real Violetta had put on her blackest armor and saddled her favorite horse. She rode into the arena with the other knights and gave her title as Sir No Name. Trumpets sounded, and the tournament to win the princess's hand began. Knight after knight rode into the arena. Sigurd the Strong, Harold the Hardy, Percy the Pitiless, but Sir No Name defeated them all. He even knocked the king's sons off their horses and into the dust. By the end, there was no one left willing to fight, and Sir No Name rode over to the king to receive the victory prize. "Where do you come from, Sir No Name?" asked the king. "You have brought honor to your family, and my daughter should think herself lucky to take your hand in marriage." "Oh, I don't think so," Sir No Name replied, raising his helmet. "Hello, father," said Violetta. "What's the prize for a princess knight?" And for the first time in his life, her father, the king, was speechless. Violetta turned to the defeated knights, sitting battered and bruised on their horses. "Very well," she said, "I shall choose my own prize. I hereby proclaim that no one will ever win Princess Violetta's hand in marriage without first defeating Sir No Name." Then she turned on her horse and rode away, far, far away. And she didn't return for a year and a day. And when she did, why, her father, King Wilfred the Worthy, gave her a horse as black as her armor. And nobody, not even her brothers, challenged the princess ever again. And who did she marry? Well, if you must know, many years later, she married the rose gardener's son and lived happily ever after. The end. I like Violetta. She's a pretty strong girl who knows what she wants.
That was a really fun story about knights. So we have another story that is about the storybook knight. And I think like our last night, this night might be a little different than our classic idea of a knight in armor. So this book is called The Storybook Knight, and the subtitle is Even Dragons Love a Good Story, and it's by Helen Docherty and Thomas Docherty. Leo was a gentle knight in thought and word and deed. While other knights liked fighting, Leo liked to sit and read. He was kind to every creature, he couldn't hurt a fly. When Mom and Dad said, "Knights must fight," couldn't quite see why. One morning, Leo's parents said they'd like to have a chat. There was nothing wrong with reading, but he couldn't just do that. They'd seen an ad that morning in their favorite magazine. A dragon needed taming. Leo wasn't very keen. "Nonsense, you'll enjoy it. It'll stop you getting bored. In case the dragon's scary, here's a brand new shield and sword." A bit of a tongue twister. Leo packed some sandwiches and lots of books, of course. Then with a sigh, he saddled up old Ned, his faithful horse. He hadn't traveled far, though the sun had risen high, when suddenly a fearsome creature swooped down from the sky. It had a lion's body, but it had an eagle's wings. "A griffin!" marveled Leo, who had read about such things. "Come on," snarled the griffin. "I dare you to a fight." "I'd rather not," said Leo. "It wouldn't be quite right. I've got my brand new sword with me, so I'd be bound to win. But how about a story with some pictures of you in it?" "Yes, please." The griffin nodded. He was really rather vain. So Leo read a book to him once, twice, and then again. "It's yours to keep," said Leo as he clambered back on Ned. "Oh, thank you," cried the griffin, and he bowed his noble head. Leo rode for hours, though the heat was quite extreme. Then stopped to have his picnic by a welcome mountain stream. "Who dares to trespass on my bridge?" inquired a hungry troll. "It's only me," said Leo. "Would you like to share my roll?" The troll just laughed. "No thanks," he growled. "I'll just eat you." But Leo said, "My armor's pretty difficult to chew." "I've got a brilliant book, though, if you'll hang on just a minute. It's full of juicy goats, and look, it's even got you in it." That sounds good," the troll replied, his hunger put on hold. So Leo read the story, with some changes, truth be told. "It's yours to keep," said Leo, as he clambered back on Ned. "Oh, thank you," cried the grateful troll, and bowed his heavy head. Seems like Leo's making friends. Leo kept on riding through that long, hot afternoon. At last he came upon a town as empty as the moon. The leaves were burnt on every tree, the grass and flowers too. He'd seen some messy streets before, but this was something new. Faces peered from windows, folks too scared to go outside. He trotted bravely onward. "Hey, watch out!" the people cried. What he saw around the corner set him shaking in his shoes. The most enormous dragon who'd just woken from a snooze. Uh-oh. The dragon raised his eyebrows. Not another pesky knight. Don't worry, Leo told him. I haven't come for a fight. I've got the most amazing book with loads of dragons in it. But it's going in the trash unless you clean up right this minute. Oh, don't do that, the dragon cried. I'll clean it up right now. But I'm really bad at tidying. Perhaps you'll show me how? So Leo taught the dragon how to shovel, scoop, and clear, and one by one the town folks all began to lose their fear. Now, can I have my story? Begged the dragon on his knees. So Leo read the book 6 times. Dragon's hard to please. It's yours to keep, said Leo as he clambered back on Ned. Oh, thank you, cried the dragon, and he bowed his scaly head. When Leo reached his home at last, the cheers were long and loud. His parents hugged him very tight. Well done, you've made us proud. Now Leo is a hero. His parents have agreed. He doesn't have to fight at all. He's left in peace to read. Look at all his friends reading with him. That was a fun story. A bit of a tongue twister. Oh my goodness. But I like that story. A story where a knight conquers all of the monsters just by sharing a story. Really fun stories, Miss Janice.
They really were.
I liked that type of knight. The one who sticks up for herself.
Yep.
And the one who doesn't quite want to fight.
Right.
Has their own way of making peace.
But they both conquered things
I think
without having to be violent.
those
I
are
like that.
really, really cool.
Yes.
All right.
They were.
So, unfortunately, Miss Janice, you know what time it is.
Don't tell me.
It's time now.
No.
It's
I don't want to
time
hear it.
for.
I don't want to hear it.
It's time for the goodbye song.
Always. There has to be that
Sorry.
goodbye song.
I know. I'm so sorry.
All right. I will just deal with it. This is how we say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. This is how we say goodbye at story time. We give our friends a great big wave, great big wave, great big wave. Give our friends a great big wave when we say goodbye. Okay, well, if you have to say goodbye, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I thought so.
So let's try it again.
One more time.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. This is how we say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. This is how we say goodbye at story time. We give our friends a great big wave, great big wave, great big wave. Give our friends a great big wave when we say goodbye.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
All right, so we will see you all next week. Don't forget to track your reading.
Yes, summer reading is coming to an end. That also makes me sad. But you do still have time. So keep reading, keep tracking, and we'll see you next week.
Ooh, let's see if I can pronounce it. Helen Doshry?
Doherty?
No, it doesn't look like Doherty.
Hmm.
Let's go with Doherty. Thomas Doherty, the author and illustrator of the Snatch a Book.